Black in decomposition, black adiposity, black mummification, black skeletonization. Black is the situation. We're gladly alive, but barely surviving. This classic incarceration. Whose dreams do you dream? Have you yet been redeemed? Or are you still screaming to nightmares in a silent film, oblivious in unconscious dreams, swinging between extremes, drinking off the same blood streams, mixing conclusions, perpetuating illusions? But God forbid, I won't keep up with this shit. Let me proceed with these questions while the squad gets ready for action, shooting the answers in a Wild West fashion of the perplexed mundane. Imam, you're not my mom. Bishop, you're pissing me off. Pastor, I am not your flock. Politicians, you conceited magicians, plotting racism in Fahrenheit degree. Or is it just me, caught in the greed, hanging on trees, paying these bills to find my peace? Can gravity shift these lanes, cause it's surely rain in my brains? Can you hear the train? Tubman is the name, cause slavery never ever again. Can you run faster to a new chapter? Can you act right, be polite before they read your civilian rights overnight? Public enemy if you defy. Whatever you say can be used against you in a courtroom of lies. Lauren Hill was right, the witness are despised. Stuck in obscurity, the media broadcasting chlamydia. Instigating subdivision is the epidemia. Satellites orbiting the sky day and night. Drones scanning my mind. Can I voice my frustration for once in life? Take my hands, walk a mile in my shoes, clap to the blues of my woos. Before your ego pursues to dispose my truth, suppose you're dodging the few, not a part of you. If you're feeling this ache, that's your wisdom tooth, vexing the falsehood of the brotherhood, while the rest is blacklisted in the black hood. In the black hood. In the black hood. Yeah.
Where this name Jupiter Child
Comes from, yes. Yes, so, Jupiter Child. My birth name is Julia Luisa Geraldo Machindano. I come from Mozambique, the ex-Portuguese colony. And Mozambique in itself is a controversial name, comes from the word Musa Alambique, the island of a sheikh that was during the period of arrival in the island of Mozambique with the trading culture that was there. The Arabic people was there first, and therefore this part of the country was, this part of the continent was bought and owned by this Sheikh Musa, and that was his island, Mbike. So that's how the name Musa Mbike, the island of Musa. So again, you see this whole thing about what names is. I'm an artist, and I'm a visual artist and a performing artist, storyteller, spoken word, a bit of everything. So I felt the need to address the new me. There was a me that came from Mozambique, Julia, and there was a me that became in this area. And I love Jupiter because it's a very big planet, and it's surrounded by many moons. And I have a special relationship with the concept of moon being a symbol that symbolizes women as my strength. So I felt like, okay, I like the idea of Jupiter. But then again, before it manifested in my head as Jupiter, I have one of my favorite Afro-punk musician, spoken word artists from the United States of America, Saul Williams, a wonderful, wonderful black artist and activist, blackivist, I think that's what he is. And he's got a daughter called, what was her name now? Saturn. And I was like, wow, as if he wasn't cool enough, his daughter was Saturn. I'm like, yeah, if you ever have a name, you have to have a name like beyond the planet Earth. I said Jupiter because it's close to Julia, but this was just all here in the realm of thought. So I went to Berlin and I met a couple of beautiful queer people, and we talked, and it's like, wow, your story is just so enormous. You're almost like Jupiter. I'm like, wow, it's amazing you're saying that, because I like the name. So I took it upon me to the name Jupiter, child, the child of the planet Jupiter. I hope that's my next stop from the planet Earth because I think we are visitors. And artistically, it kind of matched to this personality that I am embracing and saying that this is who I became, this is who I am. Yeah, so Jupiter Child is the name. I love it. So the complications about it is also when we talk about Afrocentrism or Pan-Africanism, a lot of white people ask me, "Oh, Jupiter, like the Greek god." I'm like, no, there's no such thing as the Greek god. Because black people gave name for all of the planets there is. We discovered the first stars. And whatever is the Greek mythology comes from a already manifested god mythology of the ancient Egyptian, all the way down to Africa. Today you call the voodoo, the Ife tradition with the candomblé, Olodumare, Orisha, Shango, Yemaya. All of these are examples of how this whole, what is it called? The concept of one God comes from black people. Although there's many aspects of God. So there's many aspects of Julia, and Jupiter is one of those aspects. And I'm also a mother, and I'm also a black woman, and I'm also a queer black woman. And nevertheless, with all these complexities there are, I am African.
You just say something very interesting here. What does it mean, the Blackivist?
Well, let's invent this today. We have to always twist the words and break it apart because white people have been doing this for a long time. We've had the dog, and if you put dog in reverse is God, and so on, and many other stuff. The Ga spell or the God spell, words being spelled. But yeah, black cativist, the black cat, the black panther, black cat, black cat, black cat, black cat is bad luck. If you see a black cat, you like say, "Oh, I got something bad." That is what this Eurocentric ideology and philosophy is made out of black culture, made it to be a black and a dark thing. Black and darkness and a bad thing is synonymous. So black activist is a way of kind of seeing it and understanding it. When you say understand, to stand under something, you know, what is under this? What is making the seed? So understand, stand under that blackness and see what is underneath it. What does it make the blackness what it is? So black activist is about recognizing that, so waking up to see that and acknowledging that and accept that, and then make your life a pilgrimage into that and make everything that you do, you eat, you speak, you hear, be about nothing but blackness. That's black activism. And then you have the artivist, is the person who takes art as a way to express social imbalances, you know, social misconceptions, social issues through art. That's why I like artists is the new revolutionaries of the late 21st century. So black activism is about owning your blackness and speak about black culture, speak about black people, speak about black history, speak about black identity, speak about black presence in contemporary world, to speak about blackness in the future. We are transcending into the future, and where is blackness going? So that takes dedication. That takes also investment, and we see that black business is not the most investing today unless white people are behind it because they have an interest. But we as black people need to invest in our business, invest in our storytelling, invest in our education. So that is a form of black activist, no, black activist. Yeah. However you say it, just do it, goddammit.
You born in Mozambique, in Beira. How was the time you were there in Mozambique, living in Mozambique?
Yes. Exactly, yeah. So I have this incredible privilege of experiencing Mozambique as a whole, in a holistic way. My parents come from the north of Mozambique. They are the Makonde people, rebellious people by nature and by history. And they played a tremendous participation during the liberation struggle. And they moved as the youth of the revolution during the regime of Samora Machel, which was a socialist communist one. And they moved from the north to the south, Maputo, the capital, and there they met each other. That's where I was born. And then my father was promoted to become the commissar, the province commissar, security commissar, high rank position. So I had the privilege to be around the conversations of what politically was happening in that transition time. And then I grew up in Beira from very early age. By 6 years old, I was already there, and so coming from the family I grew up with a lot of kind of a political consciousness in one way or the other. Not only that my father was high police rank, but it seemed very calm. There was a sense of usness. There was a sense of independent Mozambique. At least in the cities, it was very calm. It was like we were still marinated in the great speeches of Samora Machel that we have now become the free nation. And in the cities it was that, but on the jungle, it was a different reality. The civil war started a year after 1975 independence and took 16 years until 94, if I'm not wrong. So I remember this particular story being picked up by my father in the kindergarten, and he used to drive a Niva, this small Russian. He was like typical for the security forces. And then he picked me up and received a telegram that he had to go to a near district, Dondo, almost like a half an hour to a 1 hour drive. And he was so committed into it that he just drove from the kindergarten with me there. I must have been 7 years old or so. And when we got there were about 3, 4, 5 trucks of people, populations on the back being released and coming down, being brought from the inner districts, victims of war, the civil war, bleeding, and children and women wailing and children crying, and blood and military green weapons. And it was very confusing for me as a child, but it was like a movie. So, and then my father said that 2 of the ladies had to come in the car. And the Niva car was the type you get out and then you have to open the chair so the people can go behind. 2 women would go in there, and then I sat on the left side of my father. And I remember blood dripping in between my legs because they were shot, and it was just that was another whole scenario. And then come home, drove the high road very sharp to reach to the general hospital, and then drove home to drop me into this calm area where nothing was happening. So these realities was also always as strong polarities in my realization and consciousness of the political situation. Then times went by, things changed, and Samora Machel died, and of course a long time ago at this point. The talk of the revolution was not as strong as it used to be. Now we were just a nation that was overcoming the civil war, but again, it seemed like a lot of white people were coming back still, Yeah, the shops were still run by the white people and everything. So I didn't understand really what is this independence really meaning. As time went on, my parents lost all that lifestyle and became unemployed, and many of them veterans of war, marginalized and just dragging themselves around into the nearest bar or market to drink, and confusion. Money was the big thing now. Big cars were coming in. The rich was getting richer, the poor was getting... It's just a confusion. So the whole time I remember it was just a confusion. And the TV was very white. And we heard arguments in the house between mom and daddy because why did you use your money to buy cheese when you could have buy cassava, or when you buy sweet potato? Oh, why you do milk? I'm like, what is going on? So childhood was very confusing and better. So this catastrophe cyclone that came and hit, yes, and it's very devastating, but in the same time, my body always been marked by the devastation left of the colonial era and the civil war in Beira. Yeah.
So now you left Mozambique, living in Denmark, Europe. How it is?
Yeah.
These two different scenarios or countries or
Exactly.
continents.
Wow, that's a good question. So, and then also a part of like the residual of the colonial effects made every youth in my neighborhood want to get out of Mozambique. And I wanted to get out. I wanted to go to America. When I came to Denmark, I thought Denmark was America. I just wanted to get out because everything that was being projected into us in terms of information television, it was foreign. So coming here was like coming to paradise, you know? It was like, oh my God, wow, they don't have garbage. Oh my God, snow. This is snow. Oh my God, is this snow? All that delusion was made this like a fairy tale park. Yeah, something like that. And then reality started hitting because you have to integrate, you have to learn the language, you have to get up and go to work. And then you question like, is this really paradise? Oh, we just went around and around and around. We end up in the same plantation. Yeah. But then again, economy comes in play, education, integration. We are kind of pushed into a box of expectations from when we come into this side of the world. We don't just come here to find gold on the street or hanging on the trees.
That's exactly what I would like to ask, because that's where the perception of many Africans, our brothers, when they're down there, they think when they come to Europe,
Yeah.
is honey and
Milk.
milk, everything is there.
No,
Your
no.
experience, tell how it
Yes.
is you coping in Denmark or in Europe.
Yeah. So then again, the language is very, very difficult. And if you cannot learn the language, you cannot do nothing and be nothing in Europe, or at least in Denmark. You won't get jobs, you won't get a place to stay if you don't speak the language. And if you speak another foreign language as English, you are a stranger, and they don't like strangers. You have to come here, the type of integration here is assimilation. You have to become them. Unfortunately, as a black person, it's very difficult, because I don't even know where to start, because it's just like a huge topic. I'm hoping that somehow I can. It's difficult, You have to work to get a place to stay. You have to get up in the morning 7 to 4 and go to work. And most works that are available here is cleaning, washing dishes, picking shit on the street. It's very rare for you to find a black person in the bank. To find a black person in the parliament. There's no black person in the parliament. But it's difficult. So a lot of people I think it's the contrary, but I don't think this is paradise. It's incarceration. And when you come here also, if you don't have money, it's difficult. You won't even call home or go back home. It's just stuff like that. It's just difficult. I don't know how to say, but you have to find your way in,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Because in the same time, I understand why a lot of folks in Africa want to leave because the economic marginalization, but it doesn't get better here at all.
Last time when I talked to you, you told me that the continent still in a slavery mode, kind of.
Yeah.
So how we can get out from this
I think,
situation?
I don't think we can get out, but we're going through a process of changing. Things are changing all the time. I think we're going through a process. I have an idea. Maybe the physical changes that we want to see in the African continent, transformation, social and political, maybe that is not going to happen first on the outside form. Maybe that's going to happen first in an inside form. Do you know what I mean? Like on an internal form instead of before an external. Because I can take a lot of money from here and go to Mozambique and open business. But if the people I'm going to do business with or the environment or the support I'm going to get, it's not conscious for the importance of that movement just been done, then there's no point of it. That's why I think it has to happen internally first, where African people have to be conscious about the importance of our continent, the resources we have, the importance of our unity of thought, first and foremost, We agree that we have to wear kitenge. We agree that we have to eat cassava. We agree that we have to do this. But we don't have unity of political thought. And that is critical. And for me, the unity of political thought is very simple. Black nationalism first and foremost, making Africa into a place that Africans can come back with all the resources that they be, whether materially or consciously, bring back and make Africa a great continent. And I think that must be the first and foremost thing that Africans everywhere must understand. We're still using the same methods of division, you know? The same methods of divide and conquer, we're using that. You have black people, and you have people of color, you have African Brazilian, you have African European, and then we have this romanticized ideology of, oh, we can just agree to disagree. You see anybody in China disagreeing about something? Anybody in the United States disagree about something? The UN, do they disagree about something? They all agree on one thing. Us versus them. So until Africans understand the importance of unity of thought, then it's going to be difficult to get out of situations like that. The independence came out of very, very amazing a unity of thought. Those revolutionaries, those brothers and sisters in Kwame Nkrumah and many others, they agreed on one thing. We agree that we are under colonization. Yeah, we agree that these people have no business. Yeah, yeah. So we agree that this is bullshit. Yeah, this was the first and foremost. If they met somewhere, this brother was running from the West Africa, running and said, "What's up, brother? What's going on?" I said, "Hey, pa." The other one coming from the south, the south and north and southern. Everybody meeting the one point said, "What's going on?" Wow. So we are complaining about the same thing. What we're going to do about. So I think Africa needs at this point come to that position, and we are being, we have to listen. We have to listen to those people who are doing a lot of work. Artists are one of them. Journalists are one of them. Support these people because they are the ones who are channeling and seeing what's going on the road and be in unity of thought, politically, socially, and ultimately we're going to move as an African nation, making the United States of Africa. Africa is the origin of humanity, as everybody knows, and also the beginning of civilization. And today, archaeologically and scientifically, anthropologically, it is proven that Egypt was one of the greatest civilizations there was. In terms of technology, in terms of economy, social engineering structure, and you name it. But where is Egypt? It's in Africa. Egypt is just one of them. The great African empires all over, great things came out of Africa. So when I go back to Egypt, I see a lot of white people there. I said, how can I be African now? And how can white people be in Africa? I don't understand. How? So that also was robbed from me. So I went into making my own research, which is very important for Africans, not to wait for these false, corrupt governments who have no interest in waking the masses. You have to find knowledge the best way you can, specifically in an era of information right now. Find and seek it. You are your greatest teacher, is you. Nobody's gonna come and give you shit. So you have to. So I went into that with that spirit into search, and I went to find out that the ancient Egyptians were African people, black, blue people. Yes, it's possible. That's why when I see conversations such as the pyramid. You know, a lot of white scientists that admit that, yes, humanity starts in Africa, but in the next line, they say like there was some extraterrestrial that came into Africa and built the pyramids, or there was an ancient Assyrian, great Babylonian civilization that built the pyramid. They always dodge the facts that black people actually built that one. Why? See, this is called racism. And when I see that, I have to claim, and I go to find the facts of history. Kemet, ancient Kushites, Nubian, Ethiopia, land of the black people. Kemet, the word mathematics comes from this same era. Chemistry, the study of science and all the invisible things. When I say God is everywhere, black people knew that a long time ago. Otherwise, they would never invade Africa. The Arabs would not come and come in like we're a bunch of stupid people, and take over. The European came, did the same time, So I was stupid? No. If you look all of the art of African people from south to north, east and west, you'll see that the crowns are always interwoven with animals, interwoven with elements of nature, because we saw God in everything. So Kemet is an ancient name for what is also called Egypt, and it was not just a small little region, because this is colonial structures. It was long down to the whole of Southeast Africa, all of that, from the north of the Nile down, everywhere. So you see the blood of ancient Kemet. We are the original scientists, the original chemistry, the word Mahat, the law of balance. There is good, there is bad. We have to be in between them, not be too much here, not be too much here, but be in between them. Mahat. That's where the word of mathematics come from. Mahatmat. See how it's just there before our eyes. But we've been convinced to renegade ourselves, to second question ourselves, and these are the leftovers of colonial and slavery oppression on the minds of black people. My name is Jupiter Child, an Igbo. I come from Egypt. I come from Kemet. I come from Nubian. I come from Gikuyu, Bakongo, Ashanti, Makonde. I come from Mozambique. I come from Sofala. I come from Beira. Fairy tales, once upon a time, you were programmed to comply with the rule of law. Say justice is blind, then why now come most people in decline? 'Cause it's a smoke screen. It's a small screen. Hope someone is gonna see me. Yeah, I've been trapped in here for too long. I see beams of light. I hope the sun is gonna bust this light. Hope the sun is gonna bust this light. I've been trapped in the dark for far too long. Ooh. It's a small screen. Trapped in the dark too long. It's a small screen. It's all conceptualized. So see beyond what's available. It's a sports screen. rationalize, nationalize, but it don't matter at all. Cause if you don't visualize, realize, then your life is compromised. So see, so see, so see. It's a smoke screen. It's a smoke screen. I've been trapped in here for too long.